Good morning, everyone. This is going to be kind of a long video, but I may do this in two, two parts, or maybe three parts, just depends. So we're going to talk about some points that I just saw a couple of days ago about Ice Cube's contract to America. And we're going to go over some points. And also my opinions on some of those points. So let's jump right in. He says that officers should be licensed like any other professional, meaning that they should have liability insurance. It's kind of like an insurance agent that has errors and omissions or mistakes that may happen in the issuance of policies, types of insurance policies. Um, Ice Cube further says that black banks need to do more without getting funding from the government. And he states that if the government is pouring money into these banks, then they will be handcuffed or handicapped by the excessive regulations that would come from accepting the money from the government, especially the FDIC side of the house. I like the idea where he said that there should be a nationwide database for officers so that the bad officers just can't move to another jurisdiction. So in essence, it should be like the NCIC database that checks for warrants in their database and would check for bad behavior or charges in this new type of database. Um, this would prevent cops from getting jobs in other areas in which they may have had discipline issues somewhere else. He further states that need to have equal health care access, and there is significant racism in the public health sector that has made COVID-19 a much harder in black communities. Said we need some type of accountability in cleaning up our own communities. Measurable means for our own accountability. Companies need to help reshape and change the images of black America. And that is apparent in all phases, to include media and movies. Ice Cube further says he wants a formal apology from the highest positions in the land. I'm not sure, or maybe I just didn't grasp the concept, what a formal apology is going to do other than being symbolic in nature. There's still a cry for 40 acres and a mule for reparations for slavery. He further goes on and says that reparations from Germany and poured in by the billions for Jews that were affected by the Holocaust. He says we are not asking for social justice and change, we are demanding it. And as I just stated, Germany has paid billions to Holocaust survivors since around 1952. The decree that continues to persist is I am not my ancestors, which may be true, but yet you are still enforcing, upholding the same system that you inherited from your ancestors. Nothing can be changed until it is faced. Some of us live with rage and some of us with denial, but we will never come together. Because of this, we need atonement in action. And this needs to be done in a ceremonial manner. He further goes on and talks about the mechanics of voting. And as we can see, this is going to be another issue again. Not only has the debacle of the electoral colleges hasn't been fixed, it is probably going to be contentious once again when the results are tallied. We still are reeling, well, we shouldn't, about the no bill for Breonna Taylor. They have offered $12 million in a civil suit settlement, but yet refuse to indict the officers that killed her, and have only indicted one on a charge that makes no sense. We also need to investigate that putting some type of cap on politicians like we do with the terms that a president can serve. I believe if we did get away from these lifetime appointments, say every 8 years, we can get some new blood in the Senate and the House. I think, and I've said this in other videos, excessive brutality resulting in death should be an automatic charge of first-degree murder with a hate crime element, and upon conviction is the death penalty and or no eligibility for parole. I still feel that civil review boards weighing on the officer involved shootings Giving recommendations to local prosecutors is something that should be instituted nationwide. Officers should not be paid while on administrative leave after an involved shooting. They should be suspended with no pay until an investigation is completed, and if exonerated, reinstatement of the back pay would be warranted. I also think that semi-annual alternative training to officers teaching other methodologies than the use of force, more training, I believe every 6 months, twice a year, would be needed, especially in situations in which a person has mental issues. I also think a Roman supervisor should be on patrol as a layer of transparency and support. Instant suspension and termination of any officer that fails to turn on their body cam or dash cam. I'm a firm believer at this point in time that we need to meet our oppressor's violence with our own violence. We need to use the tools that they are using against us, turn around, reshape them, and use that against them. Joy nullification is one of those tools that I believe is necessary to help balance out the scales. I believe we should weaponize ourselves in support of the Second Amendment. The truth of the matter is that we need to be accountable for our own actions in cases of police brutality. When you look at a lot of these cases, I've said this before, minor laws are broken, situation has been escalated, and the end result is harm or death. It should be mandatory that any officer must intervene and stop any action that would reasonably cause harm and or death by a fellow officer. Failure to do so means shared culpability. I believe no-knock warrants should be abolished under the Eighth Amendment. Cruel and unusual punishments, excessive bails and fines. Violence is now and will forever be justified in the pursuit of getting equality and justice. This contract to America by Ice Cube is just a small step on the pathway to redemption and equality. Thank you for listening. God bless.